What's up, everybody? Patrick's back again. Patrick's back again. I'm back again, and I'm Patrick. Back again with more of our Parable series. Happy to be back, and as always, we're continuing on in our series in Matthew. We're in Matthew chapter 13. Last time we did the Parable of the Weeds and the explanation of the Parable of the Weeds. So what that meant is we skipped over two parables. I'm going to split them up into separate videos. Last time I did them as a single one, but I think they're trying to make different points. So today we are going to be doing the parable of the mustard seed. And if you grew up in church like I have, you all know about the mustard seed and the faith as small as a mustard seed and moving mountains. This is not what Jesus is talking about here. He's talking about something completely different, and he pretty much goes in to explain how the kingdom of heaven starts small but grows within that. So, as I always say, without further ado, let us get into Matthew 13, and we are starting in verse 31. Should be a short reading today, so let's do it. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all your seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and perch in its branches. That's pretty much parable. Like I said, it's short today. So, like I like to do, let's kind of break down some of the themes here. They're pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of them. This is a short parable. Next week will also be a short parable as well. So, we obviously have Kingdom of Heaven, which we've covered multiple times on this channel and in my streams with the Messenger Reveals. Kingdom of Heaven is the realm of your heart that is ruled by the Spirit rather than the flesh. Highly encourage you to go check out Messenger Reveals channel. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be revisiting the heart series that I did with him, sort of unpacking more of those terms in a more laid-back way than we did before. And we're going to kind of break down like the transformation of those areas in this next teaching coming up. That's actually tomorrow, which is, if you're watching this and it's not tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019, whenever you are watching this. So, I encourage you to go watch that. If it is tomorrow for you, check it out. It gets into a lot of the nitty-gritty here. So that's what the kingdom of heaven is. And the kingdom of heaven is compared to a mustard seed, which is a very small seed. I'm going to flash up on the screen right here kind of what that seed looks like. And as you can see, it's pretty small. So it starts small. We see that. Which a man took, planted in his field. Field over countless parables here can refer to the world. In this case, though, actually no, in this case, it continuing on that world theme. So the field's the world. And that's kind of pretty much it. There's birds of the air come and perch in its branches, can be metaphorical, but I won't try to unpack that because I think it's just simply a metaphorical thing here. So let's just sort of break it down with those terms. As we see, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. So the kingdom of heaven starts out small. And let's kind of think of what this parable is surrounded by. We had the parable of the tares before it, and then we also had the parable of the sower, which we realize that the seed in the parable of the sower is the word of God, which Jesus unpacks for us. So it starts out small. When you sow that seed of truth of the kingdom of heaven, it starts out real small in a person. It's not very developed. It can be something as simple, I think, as one simple truth. Like, one I like to use a lot is everybody's doing the best they can in any and every situation, regardless of how terrible what they're doing is or how good something is. They're always doing the best they can in any given moment based on their internal state of being. So we see that if you share little bits of truth with somebody, the kingdom of heaven starts very small, just like we saw in the picture that I put up on the screen. Man takes, plants in his field, the world, God plants it in the world, those truths. Or in this case, I think we can unpack it to mean that those small seeds that we receive through various experiences in our lives or various mentors that we meet and talk and learn from, those truths get planted within us. We carry them with us. Like, a real good example of that, it's like everybody out there's things you learn from your parents, whether good or bad, that are carried on with you through the rest of your life. It doesn't, They're just kind of always with you. And when you reflect back, oh yeah, I got that from my mom, or I learned this from my dad, or my uncle taught me this. Like that's where those little seeds start. So it's planted within your field. We can unpack the field to mean the heart. Let's just say the field means the heart. I'll modify the lower third later if I put one up. And though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants. So let's just sort of unpack the basic understanding of how a seed starts. I mean, we all know it starts as a little tiny thing. You have to get some dirt, plant it, water it. It has to break open and germinate, and then become this is a very condensed version, but become a little seedling. And over time, it grows into this massive tree that the birds perch in, and it's something that is the point there. The birds perch in it and become is largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and perch in its branches. Birds of the air come and perch in its branches. Let's extrapolate a little bit more. They make nests. It's a good thing that birds come and perch in the branches there. So let's go back to that point I made, that as you water it, it takes time for it to grow. It's no different with the kingdom of heaven. Jesus' point here is, though those little bits of truth that I give you are very small at first, if you continue to nurture them, watering them, continue to be in discipleship, like when Jesus was talking to a crowd at this point, but specifically in terms of his disciples, continue living and growing with me, and this seed will grow. You got to water it, you got to nurture it. So those little truths you have, those little good things you have, the mentorship relationships you have, or the master-student relationships you have, continue making time for those. Continue putting effort in spending time learning and growing from people that know more than you do. And then the other thing I said is it takes time. You have to nurture it, and it takes time. One thing I had to always learn during my transformation and growing my kingdom is I wanted everything, right now, the quick fix. And I think part of that is we live in this world of everything we have is so quick. Like right now, I could pull up on the internet, pull up any Bible verse ever. I can pull up multiple commentaries on that Bible verses, multiple translations, multiple concordances and definitions of those words. Depending on what Testament you're in, if you're in the Old Testament, I can pull up a Jewish perspective on it, a Messianic Jewish perspective on it, a Christian perspective on it, a Baptist, even within the Christian community, a Baptist perspective on it. Like, we have so much that's just right there, and it's even comes down to right at my fingertips and like my phone. So I think a lot of what we lose in today's modern era versus back then when Jesus said these things is they understood the value that things take time. When they had to get somewhere, they walked somewhere. If they were lucky, they took a horse, but that still is not like hopping in your car and driving. We're so programmed to have these quick fixes and these quick have it now and millionaire overnight and just these like quick fixes that we forget the value of putting time into something and building something. And that's what the kingdom of heaven is like. You have to nurture those relationships, and you're not going to get it overnight. You're not going to be the complete image of Jesus overnight. It takes time for that seed within you to grow. And, it's not always this snappy thing that we want it to be. So I say that because I always like to make these practical, and I didn't really unpack any terms in this video because there's not really a whole lot. It's just a very practical thing. So I guess those are, just to recap, the two takeaways that we can take from this is the kingdom of heaven starts small, with small little truths that you gain along the way that God gives to you through various experiences and various people that end up in your life. And then number two is understand that as these truths are put into you, they need to be nurtured. So you need to continue your mentor-student relationships. You need to continue learning and growing with whoever you're learning and growing with. And then number three, realize that it's going to take time for those things to take effect. It's going to take time for them to blossom and grow and become a reality for your life. But as you keep watering it, as you keep nurturing it, as you keep engaging in these things that are growing the kingdom within you, it will grow. And the things that you're struggling with slowly start to die off and slowly stop becoming a problem for you. Again, I'm going to get into this in my stream tomorrow with John, where we're going to unpack kind of like how to improve certain processes within you and how that all kind of works out as we've come to understand it and we've come to live it. So I encourage you to go watch that. But this is just sticking to this mustard seed parable, so I'm trying to keep it a little brief. And with that wrap up, I mean, that's pretty much it for this video. One quick thing, as I mentioned, I'm doing streams with a very good friend of mine, the Messenger Reveals, and last stream I did, I had mentioned that we had spent, Tim was, my wife's father was in the hospital because we thought he had a minor stroke or possibly an aneurysm. Turns out he had a small tumor, I guess not small, but like a tumor behind his eye. So anybody who was watching that stream, I just want to say thank you for your prayers, your positive thoughts, positive energy, whatever it is you put out there. Like, I just appreciate that because Tim is out of the hospital now and he's in recovery and he's doing a lot better. So that is awesome. I just want to say a quick thank you for that. And with that, I will wrap up this video. As always, guys, I always appreciate you guys coming, giving a like, leaving a comment, and just taking time out of your day to listen to this teaching of mine. And finally, my signature closing here. To all who have ears to hear and eyes to see, I pray that you be blessed in all that you do. We'll see you later, guys.